Oh, I've been thinking lately a lot about triggers and how many of us, how much of the time are walking around triggered emotionally, often negatively, unfortunately, and often like unconsciously, and including me. And as I've been working on overcoming my own limiting beliefs, I have noticed that I was unconsciously uh, being triggered many, many, many times a day. Still am, but as I've started to notice it, it's lessened the effect a little, or rather, I'm able to notice that I'm being triggered emotionally, and then just kind of like flipping a switch, I just trigger myself back, and I'm getting better at it. I have not perfected it, but I'm starting to be able to use my recognition that I've been negatively emotionally triggered to work on doing something positive. So as a positive trigger, if you will. And I know that sounds a little tricky, and it is, but it does lessen the amount of time that I spend being emotionally distraught over some thought that I've had, or some reaction to something that somebody says or does or doesn't say or doesn't do. Um, when I lessen the time that I spend ruminating and feeling bad over that, I give myself more time. And in fact, when I use that recognition as a trigger to focus on my goals, focus on being more positive, doing something positive for myself, switching my mindset over to a more positive way of thinking, like, what do I want something to be? In, how do I want to be? And taking other people out of the picture, or sometimes examining, like, what is it about this scenario that is making me feel this way, and what is it really? What am I really reflecting on? And often there's something in my past or some future worry that I have, or some other thing going on in my life that makes me prone to react emotionally in often a inappropriately uh, disproportionate way to what's going on. So because there's it's natural to react to things that are going on, but if you're finding, as I have, that you're having emotional reactions when you're like just all by yourself, having thoughts about things that could go on with other people, or waking up in the morning going on into a frame of mind that leads you to start thinking negative thoughts automatically, then um, I encourage you to notice if you're being triggered, and then notice what triggers you. And then here's the really good part: find positive triggers. So, as I mentioned, I'm using my recognition of my being negatively triggered as sort of a positive trigger. Excuse me. But other positive triggers that are really great to use are I use my hands a lot. So when I touch my fingers together, and you see me do that a lot, I have some phrases that I say on a daily basis, usually that are attached to each of my pairs of fingers coming together, my 5 finger meditation. And so when I touch my fingers together, it kind of triggers my mind, my emotions, to remember and ground myself in those. And that brings me to another side point, which I think is really important, which is that when you attach a physical movement in your body to an outcome that you want, you're going to see really great results really, really quickly. So I'm getting ready to try to apply this to getting better at remembering words to songs, and I'm excited because I think it will help. I need to remember it. That's funny. Come on. Um, anyhow, another good trigger, besides maybe your hands, or maybe anytime you see your face in the mirror, or you see your feet, or find a trigger that you're gonna see frequently. A popular one that I also like to try to implement is whenever you walk through a doorway. So whenever you walk through a door into another room, you check your frame of mind and see if you're being triggered, or use that as a positive trigger to reset yourself, prime yourself, make sure you're in the frame of mind that you want to be in when you're entering a room in your best, most calm and powerful state. Those are a couple great triggers. And excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. You could use something like that. So anytime I clear my throat, I might think, am I relaxed in the throat? That's one that I'm going to try to employ more, because as I've been singing, and as I tend to have a sore throat often, probably because I smoke sometimes, and I get anxious, especially when I'm performing or speaking, and so it's important to remember to relax the throat. So that's just an example off the cuff, but my point, back to the whole point of this, which is you're going to get triggered throughout the day. And if you start to notice if you're being negatively triggered, there are things you can do to change that. If it's, if you're being emotionally triggered and it's reverberating back to something that happened to you in the past, maybe even way back in your childhood past, or even just yesterday or earlier today, like there's no point in carrying the stresses of before into your future. It won't serve you well. It's much better to let that shit go and find ways to trigger yourself into a positive frame of mind, trigger yourself into feeling better, and things, like exercising every day, and for me, writing and making videos and playing music. All of those are important for me to do on a regular basis so that I feel good and I feel like I'm doing the things I want to do. But aside from that, finding little triggers that actually are can be subconscious when you train them in, especially like I mentioned with the fingers. If there's a movement, sometimes when I brush my teeth, I do calf raises because I've trained these two motions together, basically. I don't brush my teeth like that quite, but you get the idea. You can find a physical thing that you do regularly and attach it to another state of mind or another physical thing that you want to do or have regularly, and you might find that that serves you really well for making progress in becoming better. That's my 2 cents. That's, I think, what I'm after, and I hope what you're after is just to continue to get better, and that's really a never-ending quest. And I hope you're feeling like you're getting better. I feel like I'm getting better, so I thank you for your participation in my experience. Till next time, peace.